Welcome back. We are keeping an eye, as you might expect, on the Senate floor, where the process of voting on amendments continues. I know those are not the most fascinating pictures, lots of senators walking around, milling about, but that's what's going on. We're going to keep an eye on that. That's all about the president's budget bill. I'm now joined by Connecticut's Democratic Governor, Ned Lamont, for more on how this bill might or might not affect his state. So, Governor, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me. Two questions off the top. What are the implications in Connecticut for the Medicaid changes in this legislation? And you've recently paved the way for, if I have my notes correctly, universal pre-K. How would any effect to your budget through Medicaid alter or hamper that universal pre-K initiative you just started?
Right, Major, great to see you. Yeah, Medicaid is a big worry for all 50 states. 50% of our babies are born under Medicaid. So every time they're talking about shifting a lot of costs to the states, we have to impact that. I thought DOGE was going to go out there and get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicaid system. Nope, all they're going to do is shove it on the backs of the states. So we're monitoring that very carefully. Make sure, and they all say, I want to get able-bodied folks. Most of our folks on Medicaid are working. The problem is they don't really get very good health insurance where they are. So we're trying to take care of people. I think getting people off of Medicaid and off of health insurance is a terrible way to save money. Yeah, on the Child Care Trust Fund, it's a big deal. We're going to have universal early childhood for all of our kids, free of charge for parents, up to $100,000. We made a down payment on that this year. The Medicaid thing doesn't impact that as much. We're doing that ourselves, but give these kids the very best head start in life. It also lets mom and dad get back to work.
Governor, why don't you make some news for me? You going to run for re-election?
I'll let you know soon enough. I love the job. I think the state was flat on its back, looking at yawning deficits just 7 or 8 years ago. We got a lot of work to do. We're just getting started.
So as you know, last week there was a primary in New York City. Zohran Mamdani won. One of his big issues was housing and affordability. You just vetoed a piece of legislation that a lot of people thought had been negotiated with your office. What's going to be the future of housing legislation in Connecticut, and how do you read Zohran Mamdani's victory in New York City, with that issue being a driving force?
I think he is a big deal. I think he's transformative. I love what he's doing on a universal pre-K for everybody. Same thing that we're doing right here. Talking about free bus service for folks. We did that all during COVID as well. But you're absolutely right. Affordable housing is the biggest key to affordability in our state, and I think across the country. There's a bill out there right now that I did veto, but we're going to bring it back in a better form, make sure the towns are taking the lead. But we need more housing. It's not just affordable housing, it's workforce housing and housing for single people. 30% of people live alone these days. That wasn't the case when you and I were younger, but it is now. So we got to make sure we have housing that meets the market.
You were supportive of Andrew Cuomo. Are you now supportive of Zohran Mamdani in New York?
I just said that I had worked with Andrew Cuomo when he was governor, so I can work with whoever the next mayor is. And that's Mamdani. Absolutely. I look forward to working with him. The first call he's going to get from us. Look, New York City is the financial capital of the world. And Stamford, Connecticut, and Southern Connecticut are a big piece of that ecosystem. We have to work together closely.
What is your position, Governor, on these Senate changes? We've talked about a good deal in the program today, dealing with renewable energy, not just ending tax credits and subsidies, but applying a new tax to the renewable energy industry. Any implications for Connecticut there?
I think it's insane. Look, we need more generation. We need more electricity here in New England. That's one of the reasons we have relatively high electric costs. And then wind and solar renewables are one way that we can actually add on power ourselves. So this is a bad time to be cutting back on the credits. And I just don't like the herky-jerky nature. The credits are on, the credits are off. I come out of the business world. That's no way to run a railroad. That's no way to get solar power on our roofs.
What about the bill's treatment of state and local tax deductions? Are you in favor of what Republicans are trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, it was just a money grab under the first Trump administration where they ended the deductibility for state and local. That was very costly to us. So I'm happy to see this, back in this bill, revising that. But I do worry about the size of the deficit. There's not one Republican in Washington can say they are a fiscal conservative. They have put that out to rest. So I really want them to make sure they have a bill that's more or less in balance anyway, not to mention reduce the debt over a period of time.
Governor, you told me that the good people of Connecticut will know soon if you're running for re-election. Define soon.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
I gave it a try. Governor Ned Lamont, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much, sir.
Nice to see you, Major.